Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Steele and I'm here to walk you through my personal growth project for the AEC 3413 class Interpersonal Leadership. I selected my topic of Muay Thai fighting because I've never been much of a fighter. I wouldn't consider myself a pacifist, but if there's a physical conflict, I would like to try and avoid it if possible. I wanted to do something completely different that I've never experienced before while I had a mentor in town who was available and who had a lot of experience in the art of fighting. I also wanted to dive into this topic because I know that there's a lot more you can learn about fighting. My mentor was Connery Bullard. He's practiced martial arts since he was 7 years old, specifically Muay Thai since he was the age of 14, and he's also a fraternity brother of mine. We were in the same class, fall 16, so we bonded a lot over that process, and we knew that we'd always be there to help each other out if we needed to. Connery was a master of feedback. He delivered every single kind of feedback that was available in the text. Positive outcome feedback happened when I did something well. In the moment, he would let me know if I did a good kick or a good strike, and he would say, "Good job. You did a good job with this, and here's why." The negative outcome feedback happened as a result of me not doing something correctly. He would say, "You need to block," or "You need to do this right now because if you don't, it's not going to work out for you." The positive process feedback came during a set. He would say, "You have good speed here," or "You have good power." This would be while we were in the middle of trading blows. The negative process feedback would be in the same situation in the middle of a set, and he would tell me I needed more power, more speed, or more accuracy. This was correctable because it happened in the middle of our project as opposed to directly at the end where the outcome feedbacks were. I handled the feedback well, I would say. I knew that Connery was more talented and more skilled in this field than I was, and that I had no room to get frustrated or embarrassed or anything like that. I knew that if I rejected his feedback, then he wouldn't teach me anymore, and he also has a lot more experience. Another way he would deliver feedback is by comparing his life to my experience training with him. He would tell me that he's had teachers that would hit him with a stick if he didn't have his guard up, and he'd also let me know that there was two very different teachers in his life, one who was softer and one who was harder, and he wanted to be a blend of those two in order to be the most effective. Here we are at the beginning of our training session, where Connery is teaching me the basics of crosses and jabs. You'll see at the end of the video a wonderful example of negative outcome feedback, where Connery reminds me that I need to block if I'm going to be able to take this seriously.
Not fully extending the arm, but about 75%. But make sure your hands are up. Okay. Alright?
To connect my project to the course concepts, I needed to go back to the core of leadership: listening. Muay Thai is all about listening to your instructor. The only way to succeed is by practicing what we called in the course 360-degree listening, where there's absolutely no distractions and you understand what they're saying and why they're saying it. Why do I need to block all the time? Why do I need to follow through with my strikes? Connery gave me reasons for all of these things, and he let me know that if I were in a real situation where I needed to defend myself, I would have to practice both of those, because otherwise there'd be pretty much no point to anything he was teaching me. Listening will help with all of this, and it also teaches you a valuable lesson of our own potential and how to understand the things that we need to do in order to succeed. A fight is a lot about listening. One has to pay attention and not judge their opponent beforehand. During the fight, we have to interpret their style, analyze how to defeat them, and ultimately respond with our own strategy that works for us best. Another course concept that I successfully connected to Muay Thai was the art of resilience. Resilience and overcoming challenging obstacles are the core of fighting. And the core of resilience is a growth mindset. Being positive and confident are crucial to believing in yourself, but it's difficult to win a fight without experimentation. Putting a plan in action in your head is completely different than executing it in person, but both require the individual to be their best self and be willing to take steps to make it happen. There's very few circumstances more challenging than being up against a person that wants to fight you, and how we deal with these challenges represent the core of resilience. It's come to my attention that in order to fight Muay Thai or any kind of martial arts, one must also have a high emotional intelligence, which is concept number 3 I'm utilizing. This relates to my experience most through how I handled criticism in the assignment. I knew that in order to succeed around Connery, I would not be able to shift the blame to anything around me, and I would just have to take responsibility for my own actions. It's important to know what you're feeling during a fight or a training session. I was out of shape when we practiced for the first time, and I needed lots of breaks to ensure that I was able to do what Connery wanted me to do. All it took to get this was a little bit of clear communication and bluntness, two things that the course material tells us are high signs of emotional intelligence. Muay Thai is all about real-time feedback. Connery feels every single one of my strikes and can tell me seconds afterwards if it was good or if it needed some improvement. This brings me back to the feedback portion of the course material, specifically gems and ops. After a fast set, I would receive notes on what I did well and what I needed to improve on. This video shows Connery and I practicing combinations in the middle of our first session. After having individually mastered each strike and having him give real-time feedback on them, I was able to bring it all together for one final fast round of punches.
Uppercut, elbow, elbow. Good. So we're going to try as fast as possible. Hopefully I don't screw it up, alright? Now we're going to go jab, cross, hook, uppercut, elbow, elbow. Good. Very nice.
It was a very factual experience, and I was able to better myself every time by keeping my emotions out of it. It also gave me an opportunity to practice giving feedback to Connery, commenting on his teaching style and letting him know that I was learning a lot. The real-time and specific nature of this activity made it extremely easy to give and receive feedback without taking anything personally. Strike harder, strike faster, and strike more accurately are all examples of real-time ops responses, while the gems would sound like good kick or that was much better. Either way, his engagement resulted in a better performance on my end. In my final video taken during our next training session, Connery and I practiced kicks to bring it all together. He continued offering feedback and support, demonstrating exactly how a leader should act when instructing a low-competency follower on how to do something well. This was a wonderful experience because I had never practiced combat kicks before, and his positive reinforcement kept me going even when I was winded.
Again. 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 Harder, full power. Full power.
The fifth and final class component that I'll be connecting to this project are related to the 5 types of followers, and how someone practicing Muay Thai should be both active and critical, also known as an exemplary follower. There would be times where Connery would ask for one strike, but put his hand in a position for another. He would say hook and put his hand up for an uppercut. This is a strategy that Connery learned from his teachers, and it represents many things in terms of leadership. As an exemplary follower, one must take initiative to perform the correct strike instead of waiting for their leader to tell them exactly what to do. If a follower sees one thing and hears another, they need to go with their instinct no matter the cost, because the leader may be testing them to see how they react in an unfamiliar situation. In this instance, I had to watch his hands and elbows to see where he was going to position himself and ignore completely what he was saying. I trusted my gut and I took the initiative to be an exemplary follower. What I learned about myself during this project was that I need to follow through more in life, whether it be with my strikes or with anything I'm committed to. Whenever I follow through, I'll accomplish more in terms of Muay Thai by doing more damage to the opponent, and in terms of my life by achieving exactly what I want to. I learned that my fighting instincts are there, and I can use them in a situation to keep a clear head and decide what to do. Don't listen, but watch. I also learned the importance of flow and how eventually, if you're enjoying something, it doesn't feel like work at all. You can take the hardest tasks and make them feel like nothing. I'm gonna learn what I used about myself in the future by finding things that make me passionate and fighting for them until I have them. There's no reason for me to stop if I haven't gotten what I want out of the world, just like there's no reason for me to stop if I haven't perfected a strike yet. A level-headed leader will also garner more respect than someone who's constantly emotional and acting in the moment. I'll use this knowledge by keeping cool in situations where there's a lot of pressure, and only acting in a way that benefits all the parties involved and represents my values and interests. I'll also take real-time feedback in stride so that I can have an opportunity to grow myself. If I do this in real time, the change can happen immediately, but I will also open myself to all other kinds of feedback. What this project taught me about my leadership ability is that people want to help others when they're passionate about something. Anyone can be a teacher, and putting them in that role increases their ability to lead while also increasing everyone else's efficiency in a certain task. My style of leadership is to lead by example. If those around me are joking around, I'll join in too, but when it comes time to focus, I look at the task at hand and make sure that we're doing everything we can to accomplish it. The project also taught me the importance of how to maintain yourself as a leader. When I was working with Connery, first time I felt tired and slow, but but as I kept up with the activities, I could feel myself improving. The same thing can happen in a leadership role. If we're not 100% committed to it, we can feel sluggish and confused. But if we push ourselves forward, we'll find our flow and remember that we had nothing to worry about in the first place. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed my project.